The book of John, chapter 9 and verse 31. Now we know that God heareth not sinners.
God don't hear sinners. You understand that? We can pray to him all day, every day. God not finna hear. He ain't finna answer. He ain't finna respond. It's gonna return to sin, right? God said he don't hurt sinners. A sinner is somebody that break God's law. You understand the commandments of God? We dealing with the commandments of God. We have dealt with you before.
So look.
This what our people don't understand. On this earth, right now, in this present day, you either worshiping God or you worshiping a white man.
Bring it out.
It's one of the two. It ain't no in between. That's the influence in the earth, a white man. That's who taught everybody God. That's why everybody think Jesus white. You either worshiping one of the two. That's what they taught us to do. They took our God from us and taught us to worship them. Listen. We ain't dealing with none of that. This is what we finna deal with. 1 John 3 and 4. Read.
The book of 1 John, chapter 3 and verse 4. Whosoever committed sin transgresseth also the law.
So, whoever committed sin transgressed the law. Read.
For sin is the transgression of the law.
So, sin is transgression of the law. Give me John 9 and 13, or 9 and 31 real quick. So, you heard that, brother? Sin is breaking God's laws. That's what sin is, right? That's the definition of sin. Watch this, read.
The book of John, chapter 9 and verse 31. Now we know that God heareth not sinners.
God don't hear sinners. You understand that? We can pray to him all day, every day. God not finna hear. He ain't finna answer. He ain't finna respond. It's gonna return to sin, right? God said he don't hurt sinners. A sinner is somebody that break God's laws. And I'll go back to 1 John chapter 3 and verse 8. Watch this, read. This is how you know who is who. You understand? Watch this, read.
1 John chapter 3 and verse 8. He that commits sin is of the devil.
So somebody that commits sin and they just want to keep doing it, they don't want to change, they don't want to stop the sin, they the devil. You understand what I'm saying? Somebody telling you anything outside of God's laws, they the devil. If we go in this Bible and say we gotta keep this law, we gotta keep that law, and they say, nah, we ain't gotta do that. They the damn devil.
Depicting the Bible, yeah.
They trying to cherry pick, right? Now give me Leviticus chapter 21 and verse 5. Give me Leviticus 20. This one we gonna deal with. We're gonna deal with the commandments of God. Watch this, read.
The book of Leviticus, chapter 21 and verse 5. They shall not make baldness upon their head.
Read.
Neither shall thou shave off the corners of their beard.
See that? That's a commandment, right? That's a commandment. So, are you doing that? Are you keeping that commandment? You sure?
Yeah, I got a beard.
Why your hair bald?
My hair falling out.
Is that how you, but do you shave it?
I keep that, yeah.
You shave it, right? Bible say don't do that. Just let it grow how it grows. Now, hold on, wait. You can shave it down. But why you shaving the corners of your beard? That ain't how your beard grows. You got it cut like that. But I'm saying, this is my point. You coming up here to ask all these off the wall questions. But you don't even understand the commandments of God. We dealing with the commandments of God. We have dealt with you before.
So look. So which one of God's commandments have I broke out of them 10 commandments?
Thou shalt not serve no other gods.
What God am I serving?
Give me that in Proverbs 3 and what's that? Proverbs 3 and 31. Give me that out of person.
Yeah.
You serving another. When you do that, you serving another God. When you cut into your beard, you serving somebody else outside of God. You know who you serving? I'm gonna show you. Watch this. Read.
The book of Proverbs.
Who told you to say no? Listen, this what our people don't understand. On this earth, right now, in this present day, you either worshiping God or you worshiping a white man.
Bring it out.
It's one of the two. It ain't no in between. That's the influence in the earth, the white man. That's who taught everybody God. That's why everybody think Jesus white. You either worshiping one of the two. That's what they taught us to do. They took our God from us and taught us to worship them. That's why you shaving your beard. That's why you cutting in your beard like that. They ain't taught you to do that. Watch this. Read.
Proverbs chapter 3, verse 31. Envy thou not the oppressor.
The Bible say, don't envy the oppressor.
You go to the barber's book, bro, and they show you how they started lying.
Yeah, they did that. Why do you think we get razor bumps and all that type of stuff when we shave into and when we shave into our stuff? We get razor bumps back here and all that when we do that. Most of it because you probably treated it. But if you just cut into that like that, you won't get razor bumps because you're not supposed to do it. I don't get razor bumps when I just get a line in. But when I do that, you get razor bumps when you shave into it. Right? Hold on, watch this. One second. Read.
And choose none of his ways.
Read it again.
Envy thou not the oppressor, and choose none of his ways.
So the Bible says, don't envy your oppressor, and don't choose none of their ways. None of their ways. So when you say, what commandments you breaking, thou shalt not have no other gods before me. The white man, Satan, told you to do that. God didn't tell you to do that.
No.
So whoever got you shaving your beard like that, that's who you worship. God didn't give us, God didn't say do it. What's your question?
So you mean to tell me that God kicked Israel out of Jerusalem, shaving their beard?
Yes.
That's what he kicked us out of.
That wasn't solely. Hold on, that wasn't solely. Hold on, that wasn't solely what we got kicked out for. But that was one of the many things we was doing. We was going after the other nations. We was going after the other nations. We was going after the other nations.
Jerusalem, it was just us.
What you talking about? When you read in Exodus and things like that, there was people that came up out of Egypt with us. You understand what I'm saying? We went after the other nations. That's what happened. When you do the history, we was following after the other nations. We leagued up. It was some of our people leaguing up with the other nations to go against the other tribes. What you talking about? Read it again.
Envy thou not the oppressor, and choose none of his ways.
So give me Deuteronomy 28 and 15. Because you asked, is that why we went into slavery? That's part of why we went into slavery.
Show it to me.
That's part of why we went into slavery.
Show it to me.
Where do we learn sin from? Hold on, where do we learn sin from? Watch this, read it.
Deuteronomy chapter 28 and verse 15. But it shall come to pass, if thou wilt not hearken unto the voice of the Lord thy God.
Because if you ain't listening to God, who you listening to? You listening to somebody else. You listening to other nations and their customs and the things that they do. That's what Israel was doing when you do the history. Read.
To observe, to do all his commandments and his statutes, which I command thee this day.
Give me that. What I said in is that in Judges, where it say he left the nations to prove us. Judges 3 and 1. Watch this. Read. Give me Judges 3 and 1 real quick. The Bible says we didn't keep the commandments, right? And the reason he left the nations here is to prove Israel to see if we're gonna follow God or we're gonna follow him. That's what it is. We either following God or we following the other nations. We didn't follow God, so who was we following? We was following the other nations. Right? It's that plain. It's that plain. It's one of the two. Watch this. Read.
The book of Judges, chapter 3, verse 1.
Because outside of God, that's the only other influence that we have on the earth. It's the other nations. Hold on, listen to me. Listen to me. Outside of God, what other influences do we have on the earth? It's the other nations, bro. If the other nations wasn't here, the only influence that we would have is God. We wouldn't know anything else but what God taught us. But we learned all of these evil ways and all of this idolatry through the other nations. That's where we learned it from. That's what King Solomon learned it from. Oh, listen, we ain't blaming nobody. We chose that. And that's why the Lord sent us through slavery, because we chose to worship other gods. We chose to break the commandments of God. So guess what? We got to choose to come back to the commandments of God so we can go back to our land, so we can go back to ruling the earth like the Lord set it up in the first place.
Read. The book of Judges, chapter 3, verse 1.
Read.
Now these are the nations which the Lord left to prove the what? To prove the what? To prove Israel by them. Even as many of Israel as had.
Give me verse, give me chapter 2 and verse, what I want. Verse 21, watch this, read.
The book of Judges, chapter 2 and verse 21. I also will not his force drive out any from before them of the nations, which Joshua left when he died, that through them I may prove,
He may what?
I may prove
The Lord left the nations to prove us, read.
Israel, whether they will keep the way of the Lord to walk therein.
Because if we didn't keep the way of the Lord, whose ways was he keeping? The other nations.
Bring it on.
Sons of God! We gonna take this city. We gonna take the kingdom. We gonna rule them hard. This is war! This is war! This is war! I'm here for the win, well, to get it again. The Lord call it taking the kingdom. Want what's mine? Taking my time, turning and taking your freedom. Risen from the ashes, after the lashes. Call it a beautiful tragedy. We've been on the brink of insanity. It's the end of your days, our calamity. Adding in, grab a friend for the finale. Curtain call on a heathen. We want forever and a day. Why would the pastor lie and say it's your season? Drop a bomb on them, Hiroshima. Drop a bomb on them cause they need it. Scrub it down, planet need a cleaning. Vagabond gone.